September 1st, 2012. We just unloaded some stuff down in the basement off the trailer, and we're gonna take it out to the other part of our land to unload the rest that doesn't have to be inside. And I just thought, for the fun of it, I'd show the old logging road that goes from where we're building our house out to where we'll have an orchard hopefully someday. And there's some pretty cool mud puddles. I already went through one of them. And Mark reminded me when I told him I was going to drive the truck instead of riding in the back of the trailer that, remember, that one puddle is really deep now. See? Wait for him to get through. I don't want to have to stop. This is not the deep one. I think it was the next puddle. It's one of them that we saw bear track in before. Incidentally, that's the tractor that was the first tractor Mark's dad bought for their dairy farm when he took over the farm from his dad. And his mom and dad retired from dairy farming, so they don't use the tractors really much anymore. So Mark brought it back piece by piece to our house where we currently live, almost the whole thing, and had this real huge thing of water that he hooked up to a battery for electrodes and had some wires run into it, into a sacrificial piece of metal. And I forget, I don't know exactly how it's hooked up, but anyway, you do that and it takes the rust off of your good stuff, which would be the tractor parts, and puts it on the sacrificial piece of metal, which is really cool. So he got rust off of it that way. And then he, I don't know if he did some sandblasting after that or not, I don't think so. But then he painted it and took all the parts back up to the farm, reassembled it, and then his brother brought it down later. Okay, this is the deep puddle. Let's hope I don't get stuck. Get some speed up. Let's see, I think I'll try to this side of it. Wee-hee! There's a spring near it. Most of the puddles are there because there's a spring near them that empties into them. So anyway, so that's the tractor that Mark took apart, brought to our house, fixed, took back, reassembled, and then it ended up back down here again. There's usually frogs in these puddles too, which is a pond just over the hill. You think they go down to the pond instead, but they don't. Okay, from our house to where we're going is about a 1/4 mile. So from here we'd be, what's that, 3/4 mile from a paved road. Isn't this fun? Can't think of any stories to tell you. I know Margie likes to hear my stories and stuff. Whoop, I got some stuff dragging in the back left tire there. So this is a truck that was, get on the screen. That's a truck that was Mark's coworkers, and the guy never washed it. He bragged about never washing it, and it all rusted out. And the brakes eventually went on it. So the guy was going to get rid of it when he bought a new truck, so he gave it to Mark, or sold it to Mark really cheap, I can't remember. But Mark's going to cut it apart and modify it and make a little farm truck sort of thing out of it. At least that's what he says. And then this vehicle over here, I got quite a little junkyard going. That was my stepson's vehicle, and I forget what the problem with it was. It needed some sort of work, and he didn't want to put any money or time into it, so Mark offered to buy it from him. So on the way bringing it out here with my stepson driving it and Mark following in this vehicle, the brakes went out on it. So there it sits. I don't know if he's planning on fixing it for us to drive or what the deal is, but personally I think it was not a good idea. But alrighty, so I'm just gonna stop here. You want some Gatorade? Okay. Haven't been out here in a while. The weeds really grew up. So we got our stack of different types of terracotta pots, my bench from the garden, some hypertufa stuff I made back in there. Pile of bricks that used to be in my garden. That used to be my little patio sitting area. Big barrels we want to make some rain barrels out of, our old pots. It's just a mess. Oh, and that big white thing, the metal frame around it, that's what he used to put the water and the tractor parts in it to do that electrode rust removing thing I told you about. Believe it or not, that's where our garden plants are, and it's all full weeds, so I don't know if anything survived. It's probably all a waste of time. These are rocks that were in Mark's rock garden, where he had all his hardy cacti and alpine plants. So I better stop and go help him.